WrestleMania 36 is in the books, and I guess we have to begin, guys, along with Nick and Dave. Begin where we left off. Same thing as last night. We saw something that we have never seen before. Very polarizing, although most people liked it. Talking about the Firefly Funhouse match. Very similar to the Graveyard match, Boneyard, whatever. Something we have never seen before. I have a ton to say about this. I want you guys to get going first. I think that's the best place to start because that's what everybody's talking about coming out of this. Whichever one of you guys feels you want to go first, go right ahead.
Still not exactly sure what it is that I saw.
Right.
Just more of the post-production crap like yesterday with the Boneyard. It's hard to put into words what that was and how bad it was.
Well, this one even more than the last one, because at least the last one was a match. At least we saw a match yesterday. Today, this was just one giant promo going through the years. It was like an excuse to jump into the archive book or something like that. Like, I don't know what that was.
And it was hard to follow, and it was hard to figure out what it meant, too. Like, what was the meaning of everything? I did have one of my buddies say that the whole Bischoff thing was like homage to Eric Bischoff because apparently he was the first one that really caught on to Bray Wyatt. Apparently, I don't know if that's true, but but it just going through John Cena's career like that, it does seem like they were trying to pay some sort of tribute to him or something. At the same time, just having Bray Wyatt be weird as you know what. I don't really have any takeaways of it. There was a couple spots that were funny, like John Cena doing all the curls and being Johnny Large Meat. But my biggest takeaway is this was not the platform for that. This is not the time. It wasn't the time yesterday with the Boneyard match either. That's something that they could have produced. They could have produced a bunch of different episodes of these or like a long movie and had it compiled into one production and not be part of WrestleMania, taking away the momentum and the allure of the whole event. You know, they've done like the campfire stories, the ride-alongs and all that stuff. They could have done these two matches in that format and done something completely off Mania and, produced it that way. It might have been entertaining that way and it might have made sense, but it does sound like we're in the minority. Already looking at Twitter tonight, people are like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen, blah, blah, blah. And
well, to their credit, they were dealt a bad hand here. I don't know if this is what we would have gotten. I think we may have gotten this either way. Not quite sure. Undertaker obviously cannot work matches very well anymore. And the Firefly Funhouse does seem like something they would do with Bray anyway without coronavirus going around. So I think, though, Corona does have a lot to do with it. Well, I think we saw with the Edge match tonight, I don't want to see them fight a normal match either, because that was terrible. I mean, if it was half as long, it might have been better. But that was just way too stinking long. But no, back to this. It just doesn't. I don't understand why. It doesn't make any sense. Like, this is your life, John Cena. And Nick and Dave, you like this too, but I know, Nick, you're the horror guy, aficionado here. Was this a Freddy Krueger dream? Is that what I was watching? This was supposed to be Nightmare on Elm Street?
I couldn't tell you. I text you asking you what I was watching. I didn't know.
Well, and these guys too, and we just did an entire podcast about best WrestleManias ever, and we're taking all sorts of heat because 6 beat 5, and we're like, well, the old guys. Well, I'll tell you, I look on my timeline all over. I'll give them all the credit in the world for the creativity. I'll give them the credit for the editing and the production tonight and yesterday. Amazing. But I don't want to see that. That is not for me. And I brought up the podcast we just did about best WrestleManias, and our opinion was way different than everybody else's on earth because you had a bunch of 40-year-olds voting for WrestleMania 5 and WrestleMania 6. It's the same thing on my personal Facebook timeline. Nobody likes the Boneyard match or likes what they saw tonight. Nobody. I don't have a single friend. I have 2 friends. And probably
Yes, you do.
30,
You have 2 friends.
30, right. And those 2 guys both like these matches. But everybody else, no, they do not. They think it sucks, both last night and tonight. But then you go online, and again, I don't know if it's kids. I don't know who it is. Wrestling journalists, everybody loves this, guys. And I don't know if it's an age gap or what. Nick, what were your biggest problems with it?
I just didn't understand it. I didn't know what was going on. Was it a promo? What, this guy's teleporting everywhere. I thought it was terrible. Just in thinking in 10 minutes, what if the show had opened up with Cena arriving, and as he's walking in, a strange limo or hearse or some sort of vehicle pulls up, and someone hands him a note and it says, "Get in." And throughout the show, he's in the limo, and a screen has these promos that he's watching and these creepy things playing. Then it takes him to a house, and they have a real match. I feel like, even if it was a bad match like the Orton Wyatt House of Horrors garbage thing, I felt at least it would have gave people a match. Cena's had his last 2 big WrestleMania matches have been real bad, real big, and not just bad work letdowns.
They haven't been matches. If you're talking about last year, he didn't fight. So if you're talking about 34 against the Taker, and then this, he didn't have a match. And you look today, there was no moves. He just got the mandible claw, and it was over.
Right.
It was just promos through the years. I guess you could say it was quite the homage to to wrestling, I guess, because as soon as I saw the McMahon puppet, I was like, that's it, I'm out. I'm done. Nope, I'm done.
We've talked. He's got puppet guys. He's got light guys. He's got pyro guys.
Right.
He's got tech guys. I mean, Bray Wyatt has a freaking army working with him back
there. They did get me back for 1 second when I heard the Saturday Night's Main Event music and the original music.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, what is this? What are we doing here? And I watched it, and then I saw him in behind the big blue cage, and I'm like, okay, what am I watching? But then they just lost me again. And you guys know, Nick, you're wearing the NWO hat right now. We're the biggest NWO. We are the biggest Nitro fans on earth. I didn't want to see that. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that at all. Shoot, I bought 4 NWO shirts during WrestleMania tonight, thanks to you. Yeah, thanks a lot. I
give shout out to them. There were some really cool shirts at WWEshop.com.
The best thing WWE did tonight was their 2 for $1 shirts. That's the best thing they did tonight.
A Hogan and a Warrior Classic shirt. So yeah, I
appreciate that. Yeah, and I think we probably all did the same. I got a Warrior, a Macho Man, Outsiders, and a Hogan shirt. NWO. So
and that's
is it over?
Yeah, that's what we did to get through the women's the 5-pack match or whatever too.
Right.
I think we spent the entire match shopping on the on the website.
Marks, dude, they got us. They got us. We're paying for their network while they're buying our shirts, and we're sitting here complaining about it.
That is true.
They got us. But no, anything else about this? And again, their hands are somewhat tied. I understand. And people are complaining about the real matches. You know, the Edge match, which we'll talk about, was just universally panned. If it were in a boneyard, I'm sure it would have been the coolest thing ever.
Right.
But universally panned. So if you did that with Cena and Wyatt, it'd probably be universally panned. I get it. And they're trying. I just don't understand what they did. And it just wasn't for me, man. I don't know. And it's got to be like a Freddie Dream or something, because why was Cena like playing along with the gimmicks as they ran through his old gimmicks?
Yeah. It reminds me of Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, I think, where Ryan, I'm sure you haven't seen it, but Nick, I don't know if you've seen a bunch of them or not, but where
they
Freddy's
pull through to reality and they kill him in the real world or something, or is that the one?
Dream Warriors or something.
Yeah, that was Dream Warriors, but no, 6 is where he's like playing the video game and controlling the guys, and like
I think
there's a wizard guy and stuff like that. That's what it almost seemed like.
Power. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, like that's really what it seemed like to me.
I think that's what it was. I think that's what they were going for. And again, A+ for effort, but it's not for me. And if we don't have crowds in arenas for like the next 6 months, I don't want to watch any more of this crap. I mean, I'm sorry. And again, you look at it, okay, all of my friends on Facebook, people I talk to who have been lifelong wrestling fans, want nothing to do with this. So even though the vocal majority online right now, there is the ones who aren't out there running their mouths nonstop aren't fans of this.
The ones that are the loudest aren't necessarily usually the majority either. The loudest people tend to drown out majority. A lot of.
We're losing you a little bit, Nick, but I got the gist of what you were saying there. All right, let's move on. Unless we do want to reach one more thing. I watched back the Boneyard match again. We were not huge fans of it. We were fairly nice about it last night, though. We shouldn't have been, or I don't think I should have been. I watched it back again, and it was even worse the second time. The things, again, same thing. God bless your creativity. You tried. Good job on all of that. But even more, Undertaker being a cool guy all of a sudden, and Undertaker just figuratively and literally burying AJ Styles. And at the end, when he's hugging him, hey, buddy, oh, okay, give me a hug, buddy. Well, you did better than most people did. I've been in a lot of good fights. Just what Nick has always said. No one is better from having came out of the ring, especially at WrestleMania, against this guy. Even the guys that have beaten him haven't come out better. Roman Reigns sure didn't. Lesnar sure didn't. People were pissed. And he's, oh, you tried hard, buddy. Ha, ha, ha. After he's calling him an old man the entire time. It's the old adage. You never say your opponent sucks, because then if you lose, what does that make you? So if he's just some old man who doesn't have it anymore, he not only kicked your butt, he kicked your two boys' butt, the OG, and he beat all your druids' butt too. All at once. So what does that make you? And then he's sarcastically hugging you and tapping you on the head and saying, well, you did better than other people. You just buried all the other people too. This guy, man, I don't get it. And how all these people love this. I'm so sick of this guy. Yeah, did he do well yesterday? Yes, he did. For what it was, but they had to literally use smoke and mirrors. And it wasn't for me. It is not for me. And where is AJ now? He looks like an idiot.
That's what I was going to say. There's only one time, in my opinion, you would ever do this kind of finish to any superstar. Their contract is done and they're signing with the other company. That's the only time I would ever bury someone like that. Like they're leaving you to sign with a competitor. Other than that, like we still got to go back and watch AJ now. How does anybody cheer this guy or boo this guy or take him seriously?
I assume he's going to be gone for a little bit. I can't remember too well. You know, he separated his shoulder in the Royal Rumble, and I can't remember if he actually fought a real match before that. But he did, and he took bumps. And he's taking bumps, so I guess his shoulder's all right. But I assume he's not going to be back like next Monday or what, you know.
No, right.
So I gotta think he's going to be gone for a little bit, and his contract is up around the end of the year. I don't know when, but sometime this year. So, and he has said he's going to go lighter schedule after this. So I don't know. I mean, maybe, or it's just The Undertaker. But it was just that extra something that was classic Taker. And this, I don't know. Again, nobody I know liked that either. Online, everybody loved it, but there's some people out there that this is not for them. I mean, if I want to watch Old West, if I want to watch horror films, if I want to watch Roadhouse, if I want to watch Funhouse, I will watch those movies. I watch wrestling to watch wrestling.
Right.
Or some sort of it, not this.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I can point out is, at least for the Firefly match, going back to that real quick. When Cena came out in the Performance Center and was on the ramp, I was like, "Oh, thank you, Lord!" I was like, "Good, they're just gonna wrestle."
Right.
And then
Right.
all my hopes and dreams got gashed away.
Right.
I mean, they teased it. They teased like, "Hey, we're gonna have a regular match." Nope.
Right, yeah, because he came down the aisle and got interrupted. Well, and I love too the whole, oh, you hate everything. You hate everything. No, I actually liked more of last night than anybody that I know. Everybody said everything was trash except the Boneyard. That saved the show. I thought the Seth KO match was awesome. I didn't mind the girls match. Shayna, that is, other than they made her out to be a monster and then she gets rolled up. But I thought it was a good match. I didn't mind the ladder match at all. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe we're getting old. Maybe we're out of touch, but it ain't for me, man.
I would question anybody that said, I mean, dude, we have spent decades, hours watching this product, spent thousands of dollars on this product.
We would have been there this year.
Yeah, traveled around the country to watch this product. We don't hate this product. We want it to be better. It just sometimes isn't.
I guess I can understand, too, why people liked this.
Sure.
I think they liked it because they wanted to like it, because they probably felt like their WrestleMania did get stolen from them, which it did. They couldn't be there, or it's not the same, because even the good matches were not the same. They weren't the same without a crowd there. So maybe they were just looking for anything. And the internet loves The Undertaker and it loves Bray Wyatt, almost no matter what they do. I think it killed the internet to say Bray Wyatt hasn't been good the last 6 months, or his matches anyway. I think it took everything the internet had to say, okay, these matches weren't good. The red cage, the red light, all that. So now they got something that's a little bit creative and different and fun, and it's the greatest. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are we done here?
Yeah, and what you said about the crowd, I think the crowd, or lack of a crowd, was far more crucial on night 2 than night 1.
Sure. Well, and everything was pretty much in the ring, right? Other than the Edge match, which went all around the building, but it just went so long, man. We'll get there. Let's we'll go backwards. Let's world title match. Drew McIntyre beats Brock Lesnar. I don't know the time of this one. The time on the last one, by the way, the second on the Edge match I just mentioned, it was really long. Second longest match in the history of WrestleMania. Just throwing that out there with no crowd. Not the brightest idea.
All right.
Drew wins the title, beats Lesnar. This match was very short. It was basically Goldberg Strowman Part 2. It was like the same exact script. Nick, your thoughts?
Yeah, I text you that immediately. I mean, both matches had each guy do a move several times, and then the match ended. I still don't understand why these guys, they can't work at all. Like, Lesnar can't have at least a 5-minute match. Like, why a 6-minute? I don't know. It was a major letdown. I felt bad for Drew. I like Drew. I'm a Drew McIntyre fan, especially this run that he's had. This is the best type work he's ever done. I mean, they've given him a push. it's cool that they have the belt on him. I was going to ask both of you guys, you think they moved to the belts off the part-timers because of maybe the coronavirus? They may have to not be able to show some shows, and they'd rather have it on guys who you could maybe bully a little bit under kind of contract, rather than a guy like Lesnar or Goldberg who could say, well, if you're not ponying up $5 million, I ain't showing up.
Well, Vince is like Drew since the day he laid eyes on him. I mean, that's been the whole story here. So he's always kind of been Vince's guy. So Vince likes him. And the only reason why they ever put the belt back on Lesnar was because of Fox. He beat Kofi on the first Fox show of SmackDown in 4 seconds. But then some things got finagled, whatever. I don't know what the heck happened. And then he wasn't on SmackDown anymore. He was on Raw. And then Bray was the champion on SmackDown. So I think that's the only reason why he got the belt back to begin with. I don't know. Dave, your thoughts on the match?
Sadness.
As a Strowman fan, right?
Yeah, I am a Strowman fan, and I'm a McIntyre fan too. I was so excited when he won the Royal Rumble, and the fact that he, was hopefully going to take down Lesnar. Knowing WWE the way they are, I was worried that Lesnar was going to win the match. I was very nervous about that, and that would have completely ruined a lot of things. But for McIntyre to have to win the belt without a crowd, and to have a match that's going to be polarized being compared to this other match, I mean, it's a mirror of the other match. And McIntyre can work, man. Like, he's been in some good matches. Like, when he was tagging with Dolph Ziggler and those guys, like, they put on really good matches with really good work rate, and he can go. And the other thing is Lesnar can go too. Like, he can do other moves. He can beat up people.
Right.
There was no reason for them not to have, like, stuff outside the ring, throwing each other around, like any of that stuff.
Punching a kick.
But it's like, yeah. I mean,
right.
It's like all they cared about was the production of the Firefly thing in the Boneyard. Like, that's what was important. Oh, by the way, let's have 2 championship matches and end in 2 minutes, both of them.
It was the same exact match. Finisher, 4 finishers each way, and that was it. That was both matches.
And I think I only saw one person mention that on Twitter. Like, everybody else is like, yay, congratulations, Drew, which is good. And I hope that's the message that stays out there as far as that goes, because, again, he deserves it. I mean, I think that crowd, when it went flipping nuts for him going over.
Right. Yeah, they would have. They would have.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. You nailed it, man. There's no time constraint. And this ended in, I believe, 3 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. You got 2 nights. You got your own network. There's no time constraint here. Why did this have to end in 3 minutes or whatever it was? I don't understand that. And why did it literally have to be the exact same match as Goldberg and Strowman the night before? And the thing that stood out to me more than anything is I think he kicked out of the 3rd F5, and Heyman, screaming on the outside, says, he's really good. I told you he's really good. Keep doing it all night if you have to. Or if your finisher doesn't finish him, get a new finisher. How about that? Instead of, I don't know, a finisher that you have to do all night long.
This night did ruin finishers again. This was a bad finisher.
Gosh.
Yep.
It was a bad night.
What is the point of even having a finisher ever? And then he verbalizes it. Well, just keep doing it or get a better move. Like, yeah, that was such a letdown to me. Drew's big moment was going to be a letdown anyway because it wasn't in front of people. And then to do it like that, I All right, we'll just keep working our way backwards. 5-way girls match. Do you guys have anything to say about this? I was like buying T-shirts most of the time during
Yeah,
this.
so was
I had zero interest.
So was I, but you know what? I'll just say this. The match was all right. How many times? This is the second time we're really drawing out a Bailey and Sasha angle. Like,
Oh
this
my
is
gosh.
really taking some time. And in
It's
this
not
match,
the second time. It's like the
What?
30th time.
and this is this whole match, you're watching them get picked off. I maybe through not paying attention, didn't realize it was an elimination. When they announced that, I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna get down to Sasha versus Bailey here and
Right.
see what's going down. Nope. Lacey Evans Bailey will close the match. And that I was just like, what do you do? And then I saw that hands her belt at the end, and they walk
Right.
on friends. So we're again prolonging this inevitable. Well, I wouldn't say inevitable because I
No.
don't think they fought last night.
Well, they've already tried to have them fight in the past. They did break up, and then they did counseling and all that. Remember that? I mean, they've been teasing this. Freaking KO and Sammy think this is dragging on too long. Like, I don't want to see them feud anymore. I don't want to see them anywhere near each other anymore. Just stop it. I'm with you, man. I did see that. I don't care.
Down that they didn't. I mean, if you were looking forward to that match, you were looking to see Sasha and Bailey, like something
Right.
had transpired to advance the angle with them. Didn't
Right.
to me.
You're right. And Dave, Lacey Evans is not over at all, man. I mean, like Nick said, okay, well, if you're going to tease it, at least give it to us. Let us see these two go at it for the title, the final two in the elimination match. And it's Lacey Evans. I mean, does anybody care about her?
I don't think so. No, I what last year at WrestleMania she walked out for 10 seconds and walked back in. Like, I don't even understand what the point of that was.
Right.
And then now she comes to here and she's in the final two, and which I thought, if anything, it should have came down to Naomi, because I think she's the best wrestler out of all of them.
She is, I believe, the best
And
wrestler out of all of them. Yeah.
And it's not close. The only thing that I hope that they would have done is like a swerve at the end, if it came down to Sasha and Bailey, is to do like the finger poke of doom, or something like where she just lays down for her, like something creative that we haven't seen in at least in a long while, or just have them beat the hell out of each other. But it didn't have the feeling that was going to happen either way. So now we're going to get this at SummerSlam. Maybe.
Are we going to get it?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean.
I don't want to see. I don't care.
I mean, I don't think I really care about anybody on SmackDown.
Like Hogan Andre in '91. I mean, what am I watching here, man? Like,
right.
Like, they did have something here. I mean, it was a decent feud, but they've delayed it so long now. It's just, who cares?
Right. Crap or get off the pot, dude. Like, seriously. Okay. Whatever. Bailey wins. She's still the champ. Longest ever. Tag belt, Street Profits against, I don't even know who these people are. Angel Garza's been around a little bit last couple weeks. Austin Theory got his first match Monday on Raw. Now he's in the stinking tag title match. I don't care. The work was good.
Mm-hmm.
The work was good.
Yep.
Is Bianca on the main card now? I don't know. We've been hearing about that. She showed up. She helped out at the end. Apparently they had her music ready, even though she's an NXT girl. They had her music ready to play. Okay. Gronk wins the 24/7 championship. They teased it last night. Probably the most telegraphed thing of the entire night. Like, you knew this was going to happen. Dave, you love football. What do you think of this?
Gronk, I do love football.
He's your champ.
I do love football, and I wish he would stick to football and go announce for football or something, and not being involved with the WWE, especially being a champion. For those that listen to our worst matches in the history of WrestleManias, know that I can't stand celebrities, athletes, and stuff like that being involved in wrestling. So that stays true with this. The quicker they can get rid of him and move on to other things, the better.
I mean, he has the joke championship, so I mean, I guess it's okay that he has the joke championship. We've had other celebrities have this title.
Far worse than him.
Far worse than him, absolutely. But the thing is with him, it's just people don't like him, man. His character is so stupid. Like the hype bro thing. I mean, he's just annoying.
He's a dork who thinks he's the coolest guy in the world. But if you actually break him down, he's a giant freaking dork, and not in the funny way.
Yeah, he is.
Not ironically.
Kind of heat. All right. So everybody on earth thought Edge Orton was going to be the match tonight. Thought it would steal the show, would be, okay, well, at least we got Edge Orton, man. At least we got that. Again, kind of sucks because of the cards they were dealt. But this thing goes 37 minutes. Second longest match in WrestleMania history behind only the Iron Man match. It just went on forever. Nick.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, it was a good feud. I thought both guys did great mic work, working up toward WrestleMania. I thought it was a cool start. Orton out of nowhere as the camera guy, hits the RKO out of nowhere. Okay, we're going. And then the match got going, and you knew they were going to go to the back. You knew they were going to go all over the arena. So I was ready for that. And it was okay, but then it just kept going and kept going. You're like, okay, and then when you text me, you were a little bit ahead of me, and I'm like, what's going on here? The Benoit equipment, hang them from the equipment thing.
I can't believe they did that. How did they not see that?
Nobody in creative caught that. But there were just so many moments where I was like, okay, it's going to end here. It's going to end here. And it just kept going to the point. This is where it's going to lose, credibility. You wanted it to end. You were like, okay, this is done. Please just get it over with.
Yes.
That's kind of how I felt. It was a major letdown. I mean, the match isn't necessarily the worst worked, or like, it's creative was good. They went all over. I like some of the areas they fought in. But, man, I wanted that match to end 15 minutes, 10 at least before it did.
Right, 37 minutes, man. Dave, this thing could have gone, even at 20, it might have been a long. It should have been 20 tops.
Right, and part of it is the way that the matches worked. When Randy Orton did the sneak attack right away, Edge was actually, basically dead for 15 minutes. I mean, he looked like a 70-year-old dude trying to get up for like the entire time. And that was just immediately boring and killed any momentum that the match had. And the other thing is, we kept seeing the same things over and over, like forearm smash, knee to the stomach. There was a couple cool spots, but I mean, we don't need 20 minutes of punches and kicks. Like, that's seriously what we got. I made the comparison. It looked like two old high school football All-Americans fighting drunk off their butts at their 30th class reunion.
Well, yeah, it's kind of what it is.
Yeah, and it sucks because I like both of these guys. They both have had great careers. They're great on the mic, great in the ring, and
the build-up was amazing. I wanted to see Edge back. I kind of wanted to see him in a real match in his first match back, but yeah, I mean, this had all the hype in the world, but man, there were so many things. And Nick, you brought up the Benoit thing. And while, some people are probably like, oh my gosh, I can't. I'm not offended by it or anything like that. But what it did is it took me out of the match. It made me think about Chris Benoit instead of thinking about their match. That's what it did.
Right.
Like, I'm not offended by it or anything. It just made me okay. But I had problems with this from the get-go. I didn't like the cameraman thing. Has he been recording the last 3 matches? No one noticed that The guy, does he know how to work a camera and we didn't know this? Like he's got a talent that we don't know.
He's got a degree from Specs Howard.
Yeah, he went to Specs Howard. He went to Full Sail and got a communications degree. Like, no one noticed that some other camera guy came in here who's like 40 feet tall. I don't know. That is kind of dumb. Why were the announcers talking like they're at the 18th green Jim Nance at the Masters?
Oh, my gosh.
What is going on? Oh, and he hits him on top of the semi-truck. Oh. It's the DDT on the bed of the truck for par. He hits it. Oh. What? You're yelling about everything else in the world. You could even hear them yelling during the replays. When they show the replay, you could hear their voice in the background all muffled. Yet, when they're doing this match, when they're throwing each other off of stuff and semi-trucks and this and that and hanging each other with weight equipment, oh, here's his approach to the weight bench. He puts the strap around his neck. I've seen this before somewhere. I believe it was on Viceland last week. Why are you talking like that? It makes it even worse. It makes me not think about the match. Why was Orton laying there motionless? They probably could have counted to 30. He told the guy to stop counting. He's laying motionless. Edge hits the concerto, then he starts moving. After he hits him, you could say I'm nitpicking. It took me out, man. It took me out of the match. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, a massive fail on the Edge Orton match there. Too bad for Edge. Coming back, 37 minutes and 8 seconds. Unbelievably, a match a lot of people were looking forward to. Dolph against Otis. Dolph's first singles match ever at WrestleMania. The three of us are all huge Ziggler fans. I was excited to see this. Mainly
say that
just
again.
Because I like Dolph. Say what? First
that
match ever?
That needs to be said again.
Right.
I mean, I almost think that's the story here, not necessarily this match.
Well, yeah, the match. Go ahead, man.
Well, no, that's the thing is the fact that has not wanted a championship since
getting kicked in the head 9 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, and the story being Vince isn't sold on this guy because he's injury prone and all that stuff. But meanwhile, the guy there is all the freaking time working his freaking butt off, making everybody he's in the ring with look like $1 million.
Best seller of all time.
100% without a doubt.
Better than Michaels.
I agree.
I don't know who else. This guy sells like nobody, man.
Mr. Perfect. That's who I always thought sold the best before.
When he oversells a lot, too.
Right.
This guy looks like he's getting hit, clubbed for real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so the fact that it's in some love triangle, I don't even know what to say about all that stuff. It reminds me of like Eddie Guerrero, China, like that whole thing. Mark Henry, Mae Young, like it's one of those like kind of gimmicky things. So the fact that that's the match that we had to get with him is disappointing in itself. But I thought the two of them worked well together. I thought both of them actually were pretty good in the ring. Otis is pretty darn funny, and that dude can work more than you would think he could. And
good athlete.
I think we talked about this the other day. Somebody compared him to Chris Farley. I can 100% see that. Like some of the stuff that he was doing in there was funny, a little bit over the top at times, but it made me laugh out loud. And he's athletic. And that was always the thing about Farley. Adam Sandler talked about it numerous times about how athletic he was. So I liked the match. Right. I liked the match. I thought it was well done. I didn't really get Sasha or
Mandy.
Sonya Sonya being out there with Dolph all of a sudden. Like, I don't think they got into that enough to where she would be out there with him.
Right.
And if that was the case, why wasn't Mandy out there with Otis to start? You know, that kind of thing. It was
Right.
just that was just weird and wonky, and it felt unfinished the way they brought it to the table. So, but you know, her coming down and doing what we predicted she would do, and celebrating with Otis is a feel good moment, and that's another thing that I feel got lost by not having a crowd there, because they would have went nuts for that. Like, absolutely nuts for, you know, the underdog, you know, chubby guy getting a hot girl.
Nick.
I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of this match. I've been a Ziggler fan since the day he was a singles competitor. Straight up. I mean, not on the Spirit Squad, obviously, but I just thought, for all the crap he's been through, for all the guys he's put over, they could have gave him a win at WrestleMania, and it's against a guy who's in a tag team. I do agree. Like, he is amusing. What does this guy do with a singles career, though? Like, what does Otis do? Like, what? I feel like this is the Damian Sandow moment here with Otis. Like, how does this guy advance with a singles career?
Right.
You know, I just, it was, again, it's not a big thing because Ziggler's done. He's toast. We've talked about that. It's over for this guy. They've buried him enough. But I thought they might give him a kickback. I didn't see any point in Otis. I mean, I guess if they're going to go with him, but I thought he was in the tag team. You know, I don't know. I didn't like this just because I'm biased. I really like Ziggler, and I thought Ziggler deserved a win here, especially over a guy in a tag team.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I loved the angle. Thought it was great. Thought Dolph was finally what we've wanted him to be. He's supposed to be stealing the show and your girlfriend. They finally have him steal a hot girl. Finally, after 10 years. Not Vicky Guerrero, not AJ, not any of that. He was the bad guy stealing girls and being a jerk. That's what he should have been. That's who he seems like he is in real life. That's who he acts like he is in real life. If he isn't, that is him. He is a real heel. That was great. Then came Friday, when all of a sudden the freaking Grim Reaper is running master control at WWE Studios somehow. What was that?
What was that gimmick back in the day with Val Venus and the video, and I think Goldust was involved?
It was GTV, Goldust TV or whatever. But who is this nightmare back here running the control room at WWE Edit 1? What is going on? And why is he talking? When did you say the truth was going to come out? What is this? So that's got to be something you would assume. But then that whole thing happened. And then, yes, nothing was ever solved. And all of a sudden, as you said, Dave, Sonya's just out there with Dolph like they're dating. Well, then why isn't Mandy in the corner of the other one? And then she just all of a sudden kisses the guy just like that. Like, it went way too fast. Like, it was great. It was going perfectly until it was perfect until right then. Like, I didn't like that at all. It would have been sweet if they wouldn't have done this, but if Mandy would have like stayed with Dolph, like,
even if both girls went with Dolph.
Right.
Like, I don't care. Like, Dolph's the girl guy. He gets the girl.
Right. Kick him in the nuts and Dolph wins the match. That would have been great. But even if, I don't know, she just went with him way too quickly. And, like, now it's over. Like, okay, this is done now. Like,
Right.
we just found out about the GTV camera 2 days ago on Friday. And the angle's over now? Like, that went way too quick for me. Not mad at the match or anything, though, but yeah, I don't, way too quick. Aleister Black, Bobby Lashley. Why are these two guys fighting all of a sudden Do you guys have anything on this, or do you just want to move on?
I'll read you my notes. Match. I don't care about this match at all. Was ordering T-shirts at WWEshop.com. That's all I have written down for the match. I stopped watching it. I know. I think Aleister Black won.
And if anybody is listening, you weren't buying Aleister Black T-shirts. You weren't buying Otis T-shirts. You weren't buying Drew McIntyre T-shirts. You were buying what? Ultimate Warrior T-shirts?
Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan. I tried to get a Jake the Snake. I tried to get a Macho Man. They were both sold out. They got some good vintage ones on
So
there.
everybody else was buying the old T-shirts too, is what you're telling me. They weren't buying Aleister Black shirts.
No, they had plenty of the shirts from the guys from this era.
Okay. Dave, anything?
I call this go to the bathroom match.
Right.
After the women's match ran a little bit long, it gave everybody the opportunity to go to the bathroom and or order T-shirts. Refill your chips. This was reminiscent of the throwaway matches back in the old days of wrestling with your Ronnie Garvin versus Dino Bravo and Coco Beware versus the Model at WrestleMania 6. They just threw these two guys together because I think Rusev probably wasn't available. I'm assuming that's where they were going.
I don't know why they just ended that angle. Mainly maybe because it was so bad that they just said screw it. I don't know. I do want to blaze through this real quick just because we only have one more match, but I want to wrap up the whole weekend as well. Sure. Last thing on this though, I do want to say this. If you believe Dave Meltzer, it literally came down to the day of the Royal Rumble, who is going to win, Drew McIntyre or Aleister Black. Just going to put that out there if you hadn't heard that or didn't know that. We came within an eyelash of Aleister Black being in the main event tonight.
Oh, God.
And instead, he is with Bobby Lashley in a nothing angle. So, go Drew. All right. Opening match. Better match than last night's opener, I thought. Women's title. NXT title. Charlotte against Rhea Ripley. Dave, you enjoyed this match a lot, so I'll start with you.
Yeah, but it goes along with the theme of the night as to I think this match suffered by not having a crowd there.
Well, you can't. What are you going to do? You know?
Right. But we heard too much stuff out of both of the women. And I'm sure some of that stuff was planted, some of the smack talk or whatever. But, Rhea Ripley selling her knee being messed up and that just god-awful screaming was just too much. Just way too much.
Couldn't take it, man.
Yeah. I think that she did a good job selling the knee for the most part. There were some spots where she picked up Flair, and I wish, the knee would have gave out. Like whenever Flair was wrestling somebody, their knee would give out and that kind of thing. But I liked the match itself. It had good flow. You really didn't know how it was going to end. So, I was a fan of this match. I really, really liked what Rhea Ripley was wearing. She looked absolutely fantastic.
Well, okay, we're going to end it there.
Nope.
Nick,
I was just looking for you to chime in because we talked about that.
I didn't understand it. Everybody was going crazy. Apparently, it's a Dragon Ball Z thing. I didn't watch that. I'm 40. I don't know what Dragon Ball Z is.
I had no idea either. I just thought it was because she wasn't wearing the all black that she normally wears with the spikes and all that stuff. And, she definitely looked more feminine than she has in the past. But I'm just a fan of her look or whatever anyways. But, I just want to make sure that we went over that because I know how confused you were by that.
I just didn't understand it. First of all, I didn't like it anyway. But people are acting like she's wearing like a wedding dress or something.
Right.
Like, oh, she looks beautiful. Like, what am I missing
Right.
here? What's going on? No, I mean, she looked fine, but I don't watch NXT. I'm not interested in NXT at all. So Nick,
I'm same as you. I don't watch NXT. It's too. I'm already up to what I got 3 hours to watch on Monday, 2 hours Friday, and I got 2 hours on Wednesday with AEW. So I don't have any more time to watch wrestling.
And then you're talking the network and documentaries and pay-per-views and whatever the heck else.
And I'll tell you this before I even talk about the match. Hats off again. WWE has some great guys in the production truck. Did you guys notice that promo leading up to their match? Good. It was great. It really, I mean, I think it even made the feud, the way they packaged it all up, look better than the feud actually even was. Not that it was a bad feud. Thought the match was, for me, really good. Finishing was, I was shocked. I could not believe both NXT girls lost.
Yes.
They have pushed both of them to the moon since that Survivor Series, every brand versus each other type deal. I thought, and especially after Shayna lost last night, I thought Ripley was winning for sure. You know, both girls can't lose. So that was kind of shocking, though. I mean, I don't think they killed her. I thought that was the best match of the night.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I did. I thought the girls put on Charlotte and Ripley put on the best. It didn't go too long. I enjoyed it. It was a good finish. Charlotte won with a finishing move. You know, that her figure eight is pretty devastating for the amount of taps she does get with it still. So yeah, I give that match the match of the night, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it.
I didn't mind the match at all. I thought it was greatly well worked. But Dave, you meant the screaming though. I couldn't deal with that. Like it was too much, man. Screaming at the top of their lungs. It took me right out of it. And I'm like, girls, you're working great. You are putting on a good match. And I am not a Charlotte Flair guy at all. But I'll give her this. She can work her butt off. I mean, she's great in the ring. I just can't stand her robot promos that she cuts. And she's only been around for however many years, and she's already, after tonight, an 11-time champion. So I'm over it. But the match was fine. I just could not get over the screaming. And I'm with you, Nick, here also. Man, at Survivor Series, they put over NXT and like the following Raws, like it was going to be the new Raw. Like people were invincible. And that was my big problem with Shayna last night. She walks through the Elimination Chamber in 4 seconds. She has to wait for people to come out of the pods. Then she just murders them. And then she loses with a roll-up. And then tonight, I know the girl had a hurt knee, but she loses. I mean, Charlotte at this point can afford to lose. And I get it, I guess. She's going to go to NXT now, and they think that's going to help ratings. Well, she's been on NXT lately, and it hasn't been helping ratings. She does. She's probably the best girl worker ever, women's worker ever. You can argue that. But I'm not going to turn on NXT to watch it. Her matches. I'm not.
They may have sent her there because I think me and you have talked, and people can disagree. In our opinion, AEW on that night, I'm not saying it's great, but it's winning the no fan wars right now. They're putting on better shows right now.
It's better. It's better. I'll watch AEW.
I'm not. If I have to choose between NXT or AEW, it's a hands down NXT.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sorry,
AEW. Yeah, and we are not you're an AEW mark. We are the furthest thing from AEW marks. I got problems with their shows all over the place, but I mean, so now you're going to get to see Charlotte in some matches against AEW now I'm doing it. NXT girls. New matches we've never seen, which I guess is good, especially in the women's division, which there's not as many girls. So you can't fight as many people. So she needs fresh opponents. I guess that's good. But man, I mean, you had a chance to do something with Rhea there too. Kind of thought they missed the boat, but I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of seems like those her and Shanna both got kind of rushed before they were ready, and they kind of like regretted it, and they're like, whoa, 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 let's pump the brakes and figure out something else. Because the way both matches went today and yesterday, they put them in the matches and they didn't put them over to make them look too weak.
Right.
And I did see Triple H tweet at Rhea Ripley tonight and said, "Hey, this by no means pushes you back to the pack or like tears you down or anything like that. There's still great big things coming for you."
Absolutely.
So,
She's 22 years old or something, right?
yeah,
I
she's
mean, it's
super
not
young.
going to hurt her, but it could have been a huge, but
You know what? And that's fine. If they want to wait, and put her over next year, hopefully in a better environment, that could have played into it too. The fact that it wasn't the right moment.
yeah, who knows? Yeah, really good match. There were things about it though that I did not like, but the wrestling, yeah, Nick, you might be right. It might be the best. It is definitely the best worked match of the night, no doubt about that.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I agree.
Nick, start with you, man. Just wrap up the weekend. Obviously, it's going to be memorable. A lot of people are going to remember the things differently. Some
Yeah,
people are going to remember certain things as the greatest ever. Other people are going to remember the worst ever. Going to maybe have an asterisk by it because of the hand they were dealt. But what do you think? I mean, did they do a good job considering, or is it just crap, or what?
I mean, I guess I can't even say all things considering. I think this is a bottom. This is going to be a bottom 10 WrestleMania. I mean, both, in my opinion, both the title matches, they're just awful on both nights. If you look at the next biggest match on both night would be probably those gimmick matches, maybe the Orton Edge match, whatever. They're all bad. Like your five biggest matches are bad matches, and the crazy two, the Undertaker AJ and the Firefly Funhouse. I guess it's just me. Maybe I'm old. What I thought those were terrible, unwatchable, other than to show to make fun of with somebody. Um, you had a couple good matches scattered around. We just said Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins was good. But, I mean, everywhere else you look, we didn't get to see the Bayley Sasha feud. We didn't. Edge and Orton went way too long. Dolph Ziggler didn't get his WrestleMania victory. The triple threat match, people are going to say that was good. It was a tag team match with single competitors. I think up and down this card, you got a 2, 3, maybe you could argue 4 matches that are good and really lived up to WrestleMania hype matches. But overall, I think this WrestleMania was just a major disappointment. Stinks that you didn't have the crowd. I'll take that into consideration. So, I don't put them at the bottom. But I think you could have done this so much better than what they did. Just my opinion.
Dave.
I agree. As much as I want to give him slack for everything that's been going on, it's hard to say that this was a good show. Like kudos to their efforts and to their thought process, the production. I think they did a lot of good things, but when you break down the matches themselves, yeah, most of them weren't good. I mean, maybe a third of them were good, but there's too many disappointments, too many letdowns. Um, I would say the first night definitely won, hands down, not even close. Um, which brings the second night to like a 2 out of 10.
Right.
Yeah.
It just having to watch the Firefly match or not even a match. I'm not going to call it a match. Promo and then go to the championship match. I was so confused and disgusted about that. I couldn't get into the championship match, even though the match itself was terrible. I couldn't get excited the fact that Drew won the title, which I was really looking forward to. So, you know, It's just, it sucks, because we really wanted something to, just really take advantage of the moment and really put something great out there. The best part of the weekend was hanging out with my family in quarantine, texting you guys, and then being able to talk about it afterwards.
Right.
So thank you to WWE for putting on the show, being able to carry on, and giving us something to do, something to talk about. It just could have been a lot better.
Yeah, it's tough. You don't want to rip on them because they were given a weird hand, a bad hand. But at the same time, how much better would this have been if it were in Tampa? Yes, there would be pops. There were certain moments. Otis maybe tonight would have been better in front of a real crowd. Does Owens jump off the sign if they're in front of a real crowd, at the Dome? That maybe doesn't happen. So who knows what we would have gotten? It probably would have been better, but a lot of those matches might not have been. I don't know. Definitely applaud the efforts. But yeah, the Firefly Funhouse should not be called match. It should be called Firefly Funhouse promo, because that's what it was. It was like an extended Firefly Funhouse that he just mandible clawed him at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see a match. Like, I guess John Cena is done wrestling. Like, he must be done because, again, he did not wrestle this year. He didn't wrestle last year. He barely wrestled the year before that. Wrestled with his girlfriend the year before that. 32, he did not wrestle. He has not wrestled since WrestleMania 31 in reality. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's done. That isn't what I wanted. The Boneyard thing, man, maybe if I just didn't have disdain for the Taker. But to me, again, he literally buried, and figuratively, another guy.
Yep.
I could only hope that they're going to overlook that and just move on as if that was a movie thing.
They probably
and not really
will.
part of the story.
They probably will. But, I mean, gosh, man, that guy, man. I just don't understand how he's the coolest guy in the world now. And I didn't like that. Yeah, night one definitely was better than night two.
You left night one too, didn't? I thought we all didn't. We maybe I felt different. I left night one thinking night two's got to be better than this.
Yes,
like
yes.
It's got to come strong on night two. This has got to, and it wasn't. Night one was better.
Yeah, the only match that I could really even tolerate tonight, the tag match was fine, but I don't care about any of those guys. Other than the Street Profits are cool, but I don't know who the other guys are.
Sunday morning jobbers. They look like, I mean, I don't know who they were.
The only match I really cared about was, well, I cared about Orton and Edge, and that was a massive letdown. That could not have been a bigger letdown. Dolph and Otis, and I didn't necessarily like the way it was worked, but it was fine. I mean, it was okay. Like, I'm not mad about it or anything. That's it. And, Nick, you nailed it. The championship matches, which we said, but the way you said it really puts it into perspective. When you look back in history at all these things and you go, oh, WrestleMania, whatever, and you look at the title matches at this, there's never been title matches worse than this.
No,
ever.
This is the worst two, especially from the era of two titles.
Yes.
Especially, like, hands down.
In the way they went. I mean, bad people in them and guys who aren't great, maybe probably shouldn't be in championships, and then your 2-minute match. I mean, it was all-time bad, and those are your title matches. Yeah, that's tough, man. I mean, it's tough to give this thing more, and especially if you don't like the two filmed matches, man, it's tough to give this thing more than like a 3 out of 10.
That's what I'm still keeping it at. 3, maybe a 2, 2, 3. It's definitely a bottom 10 WrestleMania.
Bottom 5. I mean,
I'd have to go back and do research and look, but it's somewhere in there.
For those who are not fans of those two filmed matches, this is as bad as 16, 27, 9, 11, 32, 2. I mean,
9's better than this. I'd rather watch 9.
that's saying a lot.
I was getting there with that thought for sure.
That's saying a lot. Because,
I'd probably still take this over 27, 16, so 11. But you're right. That's about it. I mean, you're falling in probably right around in there.
I mean, because again, what are you going to remember? The people that liked the tape matches are definitely going to remember that. They think that's the greatest thing ever. But if you didn't like that, that is also what you're going to remember. And you're going to not like that at all, because there isn't anything else to remember. What else is there to remember other than Owens flying off the sign? Nothing really.
Let me ask you guys this. WrestleMania 33, Goldberg versus Lesnar for the second time. I feel like they did some other things other than just their finishing moves.
Way better than either one of these main events. Way better.
Did you ever think that you would say that going forward, that a main event would be worse than that?
Well, it wasn't the last match or anything, but yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that. We were there, but
I hate it.
It was okay. I didn't hate it.
It wasn't the worst thing I'd ever seen. I knew what Goldberg, and that's all I was asking for. Some sort of 5-minute match. That's it.
Yeah.
It's something different something more than each guy using a move or two. Right. And that's all. And they gave me that. I knew it wasn't going to go.
We went through a barrier, I think, on the outside.
Yeah. And so that's what I mean is, like, who would have thought when we were watching that match that 3 years later we would see two of the worst championship matches of all time?
Yeah. I mean, last night I figured, tonight I am definitely disappointed. I don't understand why they couldn't have put on a real match. Those two doesn't make any sense.
No, those two can absolutely are capable of it. Yep. And I would love to hear, the reason why they would do that.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
None.
And I'll tell you this, I said yesterday, I compared this, sometimes like those double albums that came out in the 90s, it's probably good they did more matches, because if they cut this card down to one day, what's getting cut? Because you're keeping these big the two gimmick matches, the two main event matches, the title matches, Orton, Edge. I mean, those I think it gets even worse if you cut out. I mean, Otis and Ziggler, like you said, was at least entertaining. Primetime players, or not primetime. What are those guys called?
Street Profits.
Primetime.
Street Profits, prime players, same tag team, different federation. But I don't know, man. I think those guys probably are going to help this overall, because at least people can say Street Profits and Garza and Theory worked a good match. At least people can say that. And I don't care, but you cut those matches out of here, this is a real bad. Like, it's even worse if that's. Well,
you got to choose which matches you're taking out.
Well, real quick, too. Like, think about this. Did either of you watch the Live match tonight?
I fast forward to the end.
Okay, I didn't watch it, but I'm guessing it probably wasn't worse than some of the other matches on the card. And we can go back now and talk about the Drew Gulak match with Cesaro. That kind of gets bumped up the ladder as far as...
That might be the best match of all of it, yeah.
Seriously. Like, I think it'd be worth it for us to go back and look at that match, and maybe even the Liv Natalya match, because it's very possible those were really good work matches.
Yeah. Just sucks because those matches who cares?
Nobody cares.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're coming out of this match telling me the pregame, the early matches are the best matches we got a problem with this WrestleMania.
Right.
That's
there you go. That might sum it up.
It's worse in day.
Well, boys, maybe we'll all be able to attend anything by next year. LA in the new stadium. I don't know how many people they can fit in there, 100,000 or whatever it is. I don't know. Hopefully it's better than this. Appreciate you guys. Well, you know.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, man. We'll do it again. Who knows if we're even gonna have pay-per-views next month? Who even knows what we're doing? Right. So, all right, boys. Until next time.
All right, man. Be good.